Hey, it's been a couple weeks, but we got the crew back together and we're back on the Rock Fantasy YouTube channel for another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files. On this episode, I asked the panel to pick their top three albums from the legendary English rock and roll. Lemmy said it's not heavy metal, but I think we all consider it metal in a way. Motorhead.
Yeah.
So, my first exposure to this band was seeing them open up for Ozzy's Blizzard of Oz at the
Wow.
Mid Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, New York on May 3rd, 1981.
Damn.
I had heard the name before. Of course, back then we didn't have any way of listening to music unless you bought a record or it was
Mhm.
on the radio. And Motorhead was not on the radio in the Hudson Valley, New York. So we went to the show. Of course, knew Ozzy, didn't know what to expect there too much either because it was Ozzy solo after leaving Black Sabbath. We were really excited about going to the show. The thing I remember vividly about that show still was just this band came on, Motorhead, of course, and they were heavy as shit. They were fast as hell. And we were just like jaw drop looking at the stage like, what the hell is this? And like the Mid Hudson Civic Center used to have, if they did seating there, had these plastic like chairs, not folding chairs, but just plastic chairs. I remember all of us standing on top of the chairs to watch Motorhead that night, and we were just like, when they were done, it seemed like they were on, they played, they were fast, they were done, and we were like, what the hell just hit us? It was like getting hit by a truck.
Nice.
So that was my first time seeing Motorhead and became a lifelong fan after that, of course. We had on that same day, it was very memorable because we attended an outdoor concert in New Paltz, New York, for people that are watching. It's about probably a half-hour drive from New Paltz to Poughkeepsie. Back then, New Paltz University, SUNY New Paltz, would have a outdoor concert, which dated back to the late 60s. They've had everyone for playing at this thing over the years. The day we went, Stevie Ray Vaughan was playing and Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush were there. And
Oh,
I forget the
nice.
other lineup, but it was like we went. I remember it was like a nice spring day. We were hanging. My buddy was with me. I think my wife and my good friend Carl was there. I remember lugging like it was like a this big outdoor thing. We were lugging coolers of beers and partying at that. Then we drove to Poughkeepsie and went and of course got knocked in the head by Motorhead. And of course Ozzy with Randy. So it was a very memorable day. So I guess I just wanted to mention that concert. I guess I'll just mention my concert memories. I think a lot of you guys probably will too. The next time I saw them was 1983 at the Chance, and it was with Brian Robertson, the band. It was the Another A Perfect Day tour. And I thought that was just an amazing
Oh,
performance, and I really love that record. Of course, we'll
hell
go into
yeah.
that more. There's another date that I couldn't find. I even went on the Motorhead tour dates and everything. I could not find this date. I saw Motorhead at Club Manhattan's in Nanuet, New York, sometime in the 80s. I think Steve may remember. There's a picture of me and Lemmy in the shop, and I don't remember what exact year that was, but and I couldn't find any trace of it, but I remember being at the show. I remember getting a photo with Lemmy, which was pretty fucking awesome, which I don't even know where it is now.
Uh,
1988, I saw them with Slayer at
oh,
the Mid Hudson Civic Center. It was Slayer, Motorhead, and Overkill. That tour
that
was.
was a great
What a show.
fucking show.
And that was I'm sure that happened in the city too, but I saw it
No,
Poughkeepsie.
it did not happen in the city.
Oh, it didn't. I'm
No,
sure.
I
No,
went up to the Mid Hudson Civic Center
you
for
were
that,
there too. Okay.
that too. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite shows with them.
And
That
then
was that was my that was my first time seeing them was that show.
I figured you both were there.
yeah, and the final time I saw them, I'd hate to say, I did not see them since the 90s. I saw them and Ralph was with me that night. Was we've talked about this show. It's Black Sabbath doing Cross Purposes. And
And
then
Morbid Angel.
Whoa.
Motorhead and Morbid Angel. And I didn't even see Morbid
Oh,
Angel
what a
because we had to
show.
wait in line. So So that was my concert experiences with Motorhead. I never got to see them again after that. And welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for giving your time to the channel tonight. We got Mr. Stephen Levan, and up in my upper left corner, we got the legendary metal historian here, Count Ralphus. We got James Delisle from Crucial Pain. We got Tony Dio in the center square tonight. We got Nick Zinn from the mighty Spellbook out of York, PA. We got Ed Farsley from Armageddon Productions. And last but not least, we got Sasquatch Denny Barth from the mighty Aggression. Before we get this show started tonight, I think we're going to do a shameless plug to a concert we are planning that everyone's asking me about, because we were originally doing it at a different venue in a couple of weeks. I'm not there anymore. We don't go into details. But next April 26th, Aggression has told me they're going to come and play our Rock Fantasy 39th anniversary gig, which will be at Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center in Sugarloaf, New York. And Nick with Spellbook is going to be there too. We have Damage Incorporated, the Metallica tribute. We have Show No Mercy, the Slayer tribute. We have Fire Haze. I think I asked James to play. I don't know if he got back to me yet or not.
You told me the show was happening. You didn't ask me to play.
Oh yeah, if you want to get on it, we can go. We're gonna do this as a little festival, sort of like how we did for Ralph. We're probably gonna tie in some kind of a charity along with it. Of course, everything's in the planning stages. We got and I know another Demon. I asked Fire Haze to play, so we're gonna have some local original bands and original music and a couple tribute cover bands to roll out the end of the night, make it a big party. So we're looking forward to that.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
no tickets on sale or anything else, but it's all in the planning stages.
Is this an anniversary show for you?
Yeah, it'll be the 39th.
Okay.
But then next year, somewhere, we're going to do the 40th.
So that's got to be a big one. You got to get like Metallica to do an acoustic set in the store, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, you call them up for me, all right?
Yeah.
So, so who would like to kick off this thing tonight? We're going to do top three, and then we'll come around and do honorable mentions, or we're going to do some concert memories. I'm sure Denny has to have some stories of Motorhead and maybe partying with them or something or another, or stealing their girlfriends, or God knows what. So why don't we start off with Mr. Levan, is also known affectionately as Puny Bear on his screen tonight.
Oh, for fuck's sake. It says that's my orange ab. Not even alive anymore. Well, I'm paying tribute.
So metal.
Rest in peace, Puny Bear.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully he wasn't killed by federal agents like the raccoon and the squirrel.
No, nothing like that. He went on his own. Yeah, he went on his own. It was all good, but yeah, I'm gonna have to change that because that's
Anyhow,
a little demeaning there. So
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it as a dig, but I know that Puny Bear was a special cat, and I think he had his own YouTube channel and Instagram.
Yeah, he actually was pretty popular. He had my God, he had almost 4,000 followers on Instagram at one time.
Wow.
Yeah, cat was popular. Made a lot of friends through that cat. So
he might be hanging out with Motorhead up above now, down below, wherever they are.
Now he hangs on the wall up there somewhere. So not him, his picture, not him.
Not him. Okay.
To clarify, I'm not into that tap.
DCM, man.
Yeah. Oh no, I like everything about DCM, but that name, it doesn't float with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, top three Motorhead. This is kind of easy for me because as much as I love Motorhead through all their different stages, their true Motorhead was the original classic with Filthy Taylor and Lemmy and Fast Eddie Clark. They made other great music with other members in the band, but for me, those guys were the key, and that's what I grew up with. That was my first exposure to them. So kicking it off with number three for me would be Ace of Spades. And, you hear a lot of people say that Ace of Spades is a little bit played out. Oh, I've heard it so many times. But you know what? It doesn't matter how many times you hear that song or how many times you hear that album. It kicks you into next gear. It makes everything about a party. It's going to put you in a good mood. It'll pick up your day. I mean, it's an amazing album from start to finish. album is absolutely a 10 out of 10. All three of the albums I pick are perfect 10 out of 10s. There's not one song that I would pass over. So picking favorite songs is kind of tough because really every one is great. But I really love Shoot You in the Back. I love Fire. Fast and Loose. Those lyrics, don't get up, get down instead. I love his sexual innuendos, and Lemmy was such a great lyricist. And that's one thing that he doesn't get credited enough. Some of his lyrics for stuff like Orgasmatron and stuff. I mean, the guy was really like almost like a metal poet, and he's up there with some of the elite, like Rob Halford, I would say, who's just another like elite lyricist. Whether you like it or not, his subject matter is amazing, and he always really just comes through. If you read what he's actually writing, it's pretty amazing. So Ace of Spades would be my number 3 pick. One thing that I want to make a point of is that Ace of Spades song came out as a single, and the B-side was Dirty Love. And that song, Dirty Love, is one of my Motorhead favorites. And the funny thing I find about a lot of the B-sides for the Motorhead songs, the ones that didn't make the albums, and back in the day, this was a big thing. A group would come out with an album, and unless you were getting the Japanese import or sometimes the English import, they'd also put out a 45, and that 45 would have a song that wasn't on the American release. Sometimes it would be like, especially Japanese. Japanese always had every song that was pretty amazing. You get the Obi strip and everything. I mean, you paid a lot of money for them back in the day. You still do at this point, but so some of these B-sides were amazing, and Dirty Love was a song that was not on the album, but was recorded right at the same time, and I just love that song. I love Filthy's drumming on it. It's really key. If that was on the album, it would probably be my favorite song. So moving right on, my number 2 pick would be Overkill. I'm wearing the shirt tonight. It's a weird blue shirt, which is kind of cool. It's got a shitty collar, but I still like it. All my shirts are black, so to have something that's blue is, I guess, kind of neat, What can you say about Overkill? I mean, it's just it's one of the greatest metal releases of all time. Came out in 1979, along with Bomber. Overkill came out at the beginning of the year. Bomber came out at the end of the year. I think we've actually talked about that at one time before. A lot of people say that song Overkill was the first song to really have that kind of steady double bass in it like that. And I mean, if you think about it, there weren't many other songs doing it. I know there was a couple Budgie songs from back in the day, and maybe Deep Purple, some of the live stuff. I know he was kicking some really good double bass. There was some Ted Nugent when he was with the Amboy Dukes, but this Overkill, that song in particular, it really had that whole like double bass thing going on, which really became super popular in metal as the years moved on. And what I really love about the song Overkill is all the trick endings. It's like the song's over. No, it's not. Let's kick it up again. Song's over. No, one more time. Song's over. How about one more time? I mean, it kept you on your feet, and it was really cool. Other songs I love on the album was I Won't Pay Your Price. He starts off whispering, I'm so drunk. I mean, I love that. I'm sorry, I'm a child, I love that song. Capricorn. If you've watched me on the channel before, I always go back to stuff that's atmospheric. Capricorn has this weird atmosphere and mood to it, and it really, I don't even know what the song is about, but I just love the song. It's just really cool. There was a great version of it on No Sleep Till Hammersmith as well. Can't talk about Overkill without talking about No Class. No Class is one of the most ripping songs you're going to ever hear. The lyrics are straight up nasty. I don't know exactly who Lemmy is talking about or what people Lemmy is talking about that ever crossed him, but man, those lyrics hit hard. Plasmatics did a great cover on the Metal Priestess album as well. This is another one where the B-side, No Class, was released as a single, and they put out a set of 45s. There was 3 of them. Each one had a different member of the group. The one with Lemmy had Lemmy with a girl, and then there was a picture of one with Filthy and one with Fast Eddie, and each one of them had the song No Class, and on the B-side was a song called Like a Nightmare. And Like a Nightmare is another one of those songs that I just adore. It's just filled with this weird kind of atmosphere that's like when you're listening to it on headphones, it kind of takes you kind of drift off into another world. It's just, it almost like, I mean, I could see like the title really fits the song very well. A few other songs on that album I want to mention are Damage Case, Limb from Limb. I love Limb from Limb. It's just so cool. It's got such a driving beat and everything, and the bass is so heavy. It really showcases Lemmy's bass. And once again, another perfect 10 release. And that's going to lead you to my favorite, which is probably, I had just mentioned it before, came out at the end of 1979. Bomber is just an absolute beast of an album. Every single song is amazing. This one was really steeped in atmosphere. I really didn't check like the notes to see which albums were recorded in different places, but whoever recorded this one really came up with something special. It's just such a perfect album. The song Bomber's an absolute fave. It just really, really shows Lemmy songwriting, his lyrics. They're just incredible. One thing about this album is me and my cousin Mike, we used to get absolutely just shit-faced wrecked and listen to this on repeat. So, we have special memories of that because, that's just something that like when you're a kid, it's shit like that really sticks with you. And I can remember like going to see a Jimi Hendrix movie, Jimi Hendrix at Rainbow Bridge at the drive-in and doing all sorts of drugs. And I mean, there was a lot of drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. Smoke weed. That's fine, but don't do drugs. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we did all sorts of drugs. And then we went back to my Aunt Dot's house and we literally just passed out listening to it was on a cassette and it just kept flipping. And I just remember like for like 12 hours, this thing was on. At least it seemed like 12 hours. It was probably only like fucking 3 hours. Who the hell knows? But all those songs I love on that. Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Oh yeah.
Just amazing. Lawman, Sweet Revenge, absolute fave. Filthy's drums. He's doing this weird stuff on his hi-hat. It's just incredible. Chrisian actually covered this song later on in time. Just great atmosphere on that. Sharpshooter, Poison, all the aces. Now, what I really noticed about this album is right up to that point, every song is perfect. It's all like in a special like context and it flows so well. It's just really amazing the way that this album flows up to that point. And then it changes a little bit. And not so much that I don't like these songs as much because I do, because I love every song on this album. But you can feel like the change the flow of the album a little bit. And the songs I'm talking about are Step Down and Talking Head. Both great songs, but those other like 6-7 songs, they all kind of went in a certain context, talking about almost the same subject matter, and they really had the same feel. And I don't know if that's something I ever really realized before as many times as I listened to it. But like today, when I went back and listened to it, I really did notice that. And then, of course, it ends with the song Bomber that I was talking about, just great lyrics and the siren at the end. It's just amazing. And the 45 they released from this was called Lock 'em Pop 80. It was a 4-song 45. It was later released called the Golden Years. And it has 4 songs from the album. Lemmy does one of his patented screams where he yells in it and it's got like the echo on. I don't know if anybody that's listened to any of the live Motorhead outtakes or anything, you hear Lemmy does this crazy like reverb echo thing where he screams in the mics like, I go on and just like, I don't know. The thing is, it's like some people would say like, that's not really something special. But when you're a kid and you're listening to this stuff, it really adds to like the whole like illusion and almost like the mythology of the band. And, we didn't have internet. We didn't have we relied on magazines, and Motorhead wasn't a band that was even in magazines at that point. Later on, of course, they were they started to creep into Kerrang. I think the first time I ever heard of Motorhead was in famous Cream magazine, 1979, I believe it came out. It's funny. I can actually look over here and I see that I have a cover of it that I had edited my cat into. Is Rob Halford, Halford on the cover. And it talked about the scene of heavy metal, which was something you didn't even really hear the name heavy metal at that time. And when you looked inside, it listed all these groups, and it was crazy stuff like Blue Cheer, Vince Abyss Eruptum, which I had never heard at that point, and some stuff like that. But the one band I remember them talking about was Motorhead, and that stuck with me. And then, excuse me, phlegm, goddamn allergies. 1980, when I finally came across Ace of Spades, I knew this was something that I had to hear. And of course, I became enamored with them immediately. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much those are my top 3. And I mean, I have some honorable mentions, but I'll get to those later.
Cool. Thanks. I'm going to head on over to the netherworlds of Count Ralphus.
All right.
He's been showing. He's been doing horror movies outside every night. I see videos.
Yep, and the screen's still up because it's still nice out. Usually, I take it down right after Halloween because it gets so cold. But I think we're getting another couple weeks. But I'll do Ovi's really quick because he sent them to me. I don't want to forget. So he has his number 3 was March or Die. He wrote Hellraiser 3, the reason I discovered Motorhead. So this album is important to me. And he mentions the songs March or Die, Hellraiser, and Jack the Ripper. And then his number two is Another Perfect Day, most diverse Motorhead album ever made. One Track Mind, Marching to War, and Dancing on Your Grave. There's his three songs he mentions. And then his number one was Bomber, the whole vibe of this album. And it got my favorite Motorhead song, Sweet Revenge, Lawman, and all the aces. That was
Cool.
Ovi's great. So yeah, my way I found Motorhead is I seen him a couple times in magazines and stuff. And I knew the name, I heard the name stuck out, you know, but it wasn't until I seen the Young Ones episode where they burst into the apartment and they just blast Ace of Spades. It was just like, what the fuck is this? It's kind of like when you talk about seeing him open up for Ozzy, like it's like a bomb exploding. That's how that was, that show. It's just like you just know that you're hearing the heaviest thing you ever heard at that point, you know? And I didn't get like the music like right away or nothing, but they were like on my radar now. So as soon as I could, I finally got one of their albums. The first album I ever got from them, and it would be my number one, but it would be kind of cheating. I got the poster behind me, No Remorse. This album
Great.
so great, but it's like a best of, but they did have a few like new songs that aren't on anything else. But this album, just unbelievable. It was hard to top this album.
Is that the
I
leather
got a
one?
no, I didn't get the leather one. It's weird because I remember at the
sold
time
a
when I
copy
bought
of.
it,
I just sold a
I seen
leather
it.
one.
You had it, yeah, you had that in your store for a while.
Hold on, I pulled
And
my
I
vinyl out for this one.
I remember
There you go.
I could have bought the leather one for like $3 more. It was like right next to it when I originally bought it, and I was just like, what the hell do I need it on leather for? And I bought the cheaper one.
$50 for it.
Really quick, I'm going through shit, what did I do with that? I have a 7-inch for Killed by Death, but I can't find it right now. But yeah, so we you told us this episode, and I didn't have time to listen to these. Are all Motorhead
My
CDs.
God. Yeah, who has time to listen to that many CDs?
Yeah, you should have gave us this topic like 2 months ago, and then I could have went through them all.
Yeah.
So I kind of just went with the ones that like I've had like the longest, pretty much. So yeah, Overkill, I'll say, is by I don't know if I got these in order. Like listening to them today, it's still hard to say. I don't know. It could be any one of these three. So I'm just gonna just do all three. But so Overkill 1979, the title track was a game changer. Stay Clean, absolute classic. No Class, another classic. Both songs stayed in their set list for years to come. Capricorn, like Steve was saying, Damage Case, Metropolis is a really great, another atmospheric one, and just a cool riff throughout it. Tear You Down, Limb from Limb, just a really classic. Got the CD version here, and then Bomber. This is, and I got the same three as Steve actually, but so 1979 again. Dead Men Tell No Tales, classic. Lawman, Sweet Revenge, so different. Great slow one, but it's really heavy. Poison, another great one. I Guess I've Poisoned My Life. Stone Dead Forever. It's a Stone Cold classic. Step Down. That's Joe Biden's theme song. Talking Head, another great one. And that they also Step Down, that was a weird one, how it was like sang by Fast Eddie, so it really stands out on the album as something different. But he kind of had like almost like an Ace Frehley sort of vocal vibe to him. Like I thought it was pretty cool, that song. It didn't like ruin anything. All right, so that's Bomber. I got the deluxe CD. I got it on cassette.
Nice.
And I got the big like book version, special edition vinyl. It's like a book inside and another
sweet.
extra vinyl. It's got all sorts of extra stuff in it. Really great thing to get.
That's
Got that at Rock Fantasy.
Thank you.
And but yeah, then number one, I'm saying 1980s Ace of Spades. Just like Steve Levan said, it's one of those songs. It's not like Iron Man and Paranoid where you hear it so much that you get tired, or so many songs that you hear over and over again. This is the song that you heard the most by them, but you cannot stop tapping your fingers or shaking your head. As soon as you hear it, you just want to like go with the rhythm of it all. It's fucking amazing. There's a good reason why it's one of their most endured songs. Never get sick of it. Love Me Like a Reptile. Lemmy's lyrics is just so great, such cool way he comes up with these ideas. Shoot You in the Back, Live to Win. Lemmy's great bass tone on that song. We Are the Road Crew, the awesome roadie song. Fire is a great one. Jailbait, another awesome classic. The Chase is Better Than the Catch, another great lyrics. Bite the Bullet and The Hammer, what a like great fast one. The Hammer. And that Dirty Love song that Steve was talking about, that's on the deluxe Ace of Spades version. If you get this, it's got like a whole extra disc and stuff. But yeah, I got it on cassette, original cassette, and I got the
Nice.
original vinyl. I got the original vinyl, and I got like the big book one too. That's like the bomber one that comes with like all the cool stuff, extra vinyl and shit.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my three. I'll talk about like concert experiences and stuff at the end, I guess.
Cool. All right, we head to the state of Connecticut to see James Delisle. Hello.
Yes, sir. All right. So number 3 in my top 3 is going to be one that I wasn't expecting anybody else to have in their top 3 because it's a more current Motorhead record. Inferno.
Yeah. Record. Kick-ass record.
I love this one, man. There was little to no fanfare with this one coming out. Basically no promotion to it. I was think I was in a Circuit City or a Best Buy or some shit like that. And just flipping through the CDs and not really having anything in mind. And oh wow, a new Motorhead record. Okay, the cover's awesome. This has got to be pretty cool. Bring it home and check it out. And this one blew me away, honestly. I think this is the crown jewel of the Lemmy, Mickey D, Phil Campbell era. There's just something about this one for me that the songs are better. They're catchier. They just stand out more than certain albums from this lineup. Terminal Show is a great opener. Killers is really a vicious track. In the Name of Tragedy is a great one. In the Year of the Wolf, that's a great one. Keys to the Kingdom, very cool, bluesy, like laid back sort of track on this one. And the song that I love Smiling Like a Killer too. That's another great, vicious kind of punk rocky one. But when I made it down to track 12 and saw there was a song called Whorehouse Blues, this had to come home with me. It had to. And that's just a great, like, you never heard Motorhead with, well, no, you heard him with acoustic guitars before, but you never heard him really play the down, dirty blues like that before. And also, Lemmy playing the harmonica on it is just awesome. Like, it's something you really don't fucking expect. So this one takes my number 3. If you don't have this one in your collection, if you never heard it, you really need to pay attention to this record because there's so many good, just go at the throat killer songs on this. So that's my number 3 is Inferno. And again, this is, for me, the crown jewel of this lineup of the band. Number 2 is going to be Another Perfect Day.
Yes.
Just a slamming, underrated album. Every track is awesome. And there's the bringing in Brian Robertson from Thin Lizzy added a whole different melodic element. Like they kept the speedy punk speed metal thing, but there was also just this cool underlying melodic sense in this record too. Lemmy has gone on in his book and in live concerts and stuff. Actually, there's a really great, going back to Inferno, there's a great live concert you can get called Stage Fright on DVD. I recommend grabbing this because it's a fantastic performance. They give you a lot of songs, 20 tunes on this.
Wow.
Lemmy goes into Dancing on Your Grave and says that this album, Another Perfect Day, was kind of a flop and nobody really bought it at first. And you know, I think he's made the joke before that the only people that actually bought this record were Brian Robertson's family.
I bought it.
I bought it.
Well, it was. I think it's like it's been like a cult Motorhead record where it's like one of those things where like you really got to be into them to sort of fucking own this one, you know.
Unless you were there back in the day. And,
What's that?
Unless you were there back in the day, like me, selling it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I guess.
That's pre-Rock Fantasy. I wasn't even open yet. I wasn't.
Yeah, it's 1983.
Yeah.
Well, it was the first album without the original lineup, so it got a bad
True.
reviews when
Well,
it came
yeah,
out, just because it wasn't the original
yeah.
band. So
Yeah.
it was the first time doing something a little different.
Of course.
But yeah, everything on this is killer. Dancing on Your Grave, Shine, Rocket is a great song. It's got piano involved in it. That's really cool. It's the first time you really hear Motorhead doing something like that. Marching Off to War, I Got Mine is a badass song.
Oh yeah.
Badass song. Yeah, this is a fantastic record. And come on, the opening Back at the Funny Farm just really kind of grabs you by the balls. It's great album. Fantastic, underrated Motorhead record here. There's a really cool version of that album that you can get on CD.
Look at that single, huh?
That has the second disc is an entire live show from the Manchester Apollo in 1983, and that's very cool. So go grab that if you don't have that in your collection there, kiddos. Number one, going with Overkill.
There you go.
That's the one, man. There's no, I don't know, man. That there's just so much. I feel like there's magic in this one.
Yeah.
You know, I do go to the debut and listen to that, and I'm a little underwhelmed by the debut. But then I go to this one, and I go, man, they really needed Fast Eddie Clarke, and they really needed that one record to kind of get that out of their system and come back with this. Just so good. As has been stated before, the song Overkill is just so great. This is the blueprint for thrash metal on this record, man. I'll Be Your Sister, Stay Clean. Capricorn is a really cool, like Steven has said, just like kind of stoner rock song. No Class reminds me so much of a sped up, steroided out ZZ Top.
Yeah.
It's got that it's got that whole like fast blues thing. Like if you turned up the speed on your ZZ Top records, here you go. No Class.
Yeah,
It's the riff to tush.
It really is.
It is absolutely, yeah.
And Lemmy was a big fan of ZZ Top too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was. That would have been a cool tour, huh? ZZ Top and Motorhead.
Yep, for sure.
So it's funny.
But yeah, Damage Case is my favorite Motorhead song of all time.
Wow.
So that's what made me take this for number one. Tear You Down, Metropolis, Slim from Limb. Just, if you don't have this, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just get it and play it over and over again and kill your neighbor's lawn. There you go. That's my top three. Unfortunately, I never got to see Motorhead live, but I did get to meet them.
Oh,
They did an autograph signing at Virgin Megastore in New York City, which isn't there anymore, in 2008 for the Motorizer record.
wow.
And I went there with my girlfriend and a buddy of mine.
Nice.
And I gave him a copy of my old band, Left in Ruins. We put out an album earlier that year. And I remember getting up to the table to meet the three of them. And the closer you got to the table, you just smelled whiskey. And it got stronger and stronger and stronger. And I got in front of Lemmy, and he had one of those big red Solo cups, and it was brimmed with Jack Daniels in it. And he was lit. And I handed him my album cover. He signed it. And then I handed him my band Left in Ruins CD. And he sat and looked at the cover art for like 40 seconds. And he goes, "Oh, that's really fucking cool, mate. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give it a listen. Yeah. Yeah, I bet you guys are really fucking heavy." And then he looked at the back cover and did the same thing for like another 40 seconds. I'll never forget that. That was so cool.
That's great. Cool.
So there you go. Yeah, that's my experience with them, and that's my top three. And I got a couple of honorable, like to wax poetically about.
Cool. Steve, you were saying something there.
Just James struck a note with me I never really thought about, but some of the atmosphere I think that comes with Metropolis and Capricorn really kind of goes back to those Hawkwind days with Lemmy, where it was kind of like a little bit more stoner rock. And I never really thought about that before, but him saying that made me think that, like, yeah, those songs, like where that kind of came from was all that kind of like Hawkwind vibe that like James was alluding to, they kind of got away from after they did On Parole in the very first Motorhead, and they started going their direction, but he still had those riffs, I guess, in him. And and I think that now that I think about it, that's probably where a lot of the atmosphere does come from on Overkill and from Bomber. So that was just a pretty neat note to say, and it really made me think about that, which was the first time I really so that's why I love doing the show, because you start thinking about stuff like that, you actually learn something.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to head to our center square, Mr. Tony Dio from North Carolina.
What's happening, guys? So I got into Motorhead around probably 84 or so. I remember when we had gotten MTV and cable TV, and basically MTV didn't really play any Motorhead videos that I remember at that time. But I remember seeing the video for Killed by Death on radio 1990 Night Flight on the USA Network, because they would do a little more. They were a little more edgy and show videos that MTV just deemed, I guess, not suitable to show or whatever. Never understood that with the Motorhead video, but of course later on you started seeing Motorhead videos. But that's the first video I remember seeing. But I remember seeing them in magazines, and I was always picking up Circus, and I remember seeing a review for the No Remorse album, and talking about these new members that had come in to replace the original guys and stuff. Fast Eddie had left, and I was familiar with Fastway, of course, and wasn't really familiar with Thin Lizzy and Brian Robertson at the time, but it was talking about that and talking about the split and all. Well, this kid at school brings the No Remorse tape to school, and he's got the leather tape. He's got the tape inside the leather pouch, and I thought that was so cool or whatever. And we were going to get together and we were going to swap something. I was going to get that from him. And he ended up bringing the tape to me with no leather pouch. And he had cut the leather pouch up and made like a patch out of it and just ruined it. But still, I still got the tape. Still got the tape from him. Loved it. I could cheat, like Ralph was saying. I could say this should be my favorite Motorhead album, but I mean, I love No Remorse. It's such a great. And that is my leather copy on vinyl I have, and here's my Killed by Death shaped picture disc that has yellowed quite a bit over the years. If you guys know about picture discs, they always would yellow some of them. Has a picture of Wurzel crucified on the back. But
Here's my
but yeah,
my 7-inch killed by death.
Uh,
It's
Yeah.
got like a picture
Yeah.
of him on an electric chair on the back,
Mhm.
being electrocuted.
and that's the record I would recommend someone start off if they want to start off with a Motorhead record, because it's got all the
Oh, yeah.
great stuff from the old days. Plus,
Yeah.
it's got 4 new tracks, and it's got it also has like some B-sides and stuff that were on it, like a Nightmare and stuff. Good, just a great beginning to start for with Motorhead. So that's what opened my world up to them. So actually, my number 3 pick is going to be the next record that I picked up by them, and it was actually the new album that had come out, and that was Orgasmatron. So that's going to be my number 3
nice.
pick. I do remember MTV showing a video for the Mean Machine. They had a live clip from the birthday party concert of them doing the Mean Machine. This album's just great. I love the album art here. You've got the Orgasmatron, you got the train, here. It's just crazy. But Death Forever, such a great song. Nothing Up My Sleeve, always love that one. Ain't My Crime's good. The Claw, Mean Machine, like I mentioned. Built for Speed. Now, here's another one that I had actually got familiar with around the same time as discovering them, because the Hearing Aid album came out, that the Metal for Famine Relief record that Ronnie James Dio had put together, and it had different bands on it, and it had a Motorhead track on there of them playing a song live, and the song was called On the Road. And I knew that song, and I remember getting this and thinking, man, that's like the same song. They just changed the lyrics, So they changed the lyrics to On the Road to Built for Speed. They wrote a different chorus for it, but it had almost the same lyrics during the verses. But riding out with
I got the 7-inch of that. It's Death Forever and On the Road live on the other side.
Yep, killer. Dr. Rock, great one. They had a live album called No Sleep at All that opened with Dr. Rock, such a great track. And then the title track, Orgasmatron, is probably one of the most menacing, just heavy, dark Motorhead songs ever. Just a great track. Number 2, I'm going to go with Ace of Spades. Just great record. What can be said about here that hasn't been said about this album? I mean, I love every song here. Living Like a Reptile was great. With Shoot You in the Back. Live to Win, Fast and Loose, We Are the Road Crew. I mean, that's just a tribute to all the roadies and what they do. And I just love the lyrics in there, another tube of super glue and all that's just great, Fire, Jailbait. God, I mean, that's their little teenage lust song, But yeah, I mean, Dance, Bite the Bullet, Chase is Better Than the Catch, one of the best Motorhead songs ever. Clever lyrics with Lemmy on that one. The Hammer, of course, another great one, and of course the title track, Ace of Spades. This is original. This is a 1980s pressing on gold vinyl. It actually kind of looks kind of yellow, but it's kind of hard to get nowadays. And
Nice.
I have a single for Ace of Spades with the Christmas cover with Santa Claus, and the song that Steve mentioned, "Dirty Love," is the B-side to this. Another great one. And so my number 1 pick is going to be when I got that No Remorse. 2 of my favorite songs on there were "Dancing on Your Grave" and "Shine." And like I said, I didn't know anything about Brian Robertson or Thin Lizzy or anything, but those were very melodic songs, and I loved both of them, especially "Dancing on Your Grave." And so that's from this album, from Another Perfect Day. And this is just one that has just grown on me so much over the years. I remember picking it on cassette way back in the day and stuff, after I was kind of starting to get the catalog there. And I mean, Back at the Funny Farm, just great lyrics on that one. I love the line where he says, "I really like this jacket, but the sleeves are much too long." He's talking about a straight jacket. But yeah, Shine is just a great song. Dancing on Your Grave, like I said, Rocket, One Track Mind, another one that I love. The title track, I've got mine, Marching Off to War, Tales of Glory, Die You Bastard. They made a couple of videos for this. There's several live clips of them doing a couple songs from this album. There's a video compilation that's out. So they were making videos back in the day, way back, but I guess MTV just wasn't playing, or probably getting played over in Europe.
Mhm.
I also love the inside of this album has a comic strip that is just them like kind of like just dealing with Brian Robertson, and he, because Brian Robertson shows up and he had completely changed his image from Thin Lizzy. He'd cut his hair and dyed it like pink, and he was wearing like a headband, and he's wearing like little tight pants and shorts and leg warmers. He looks like he should be in the Olivia Newton-John physical video or something, you know. And they're just kind of, they're ragging on his look, and they're ragging about him drinking and going out on tour. It's just a funny little comic strip. And there's a single for the track Shine, a great cover there with the chick with the half skull face.
Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, you know, Motorhead's just always been a great one that I've followed. I've pretty much got all their stuff on CD and a bunch of records, and I had the pleasure of working for Sanctuary Records when, you know, in the time period that they were with them through, you know, through the later days.
Awesome.
And so I got to, you know, had several experiences, you know, getting to go meet Lemmy and stuff like that through the years. So I could talk about that a little later, but yeah, that's my top three.
Awesome. Thank you. Head over to York, Pennsylvania. Next in line is Mr. Nick Zinn from the Mighty Spellbook.
Cheers, boys. Welcome. Thanks for having me on. Number 3. Sleep Till Hammersmith.
Great live album. Yeah.
This just sums up early Motorhead the best for me. Like a lot of you said, you know, first era of the band, or second era, I guess you'd say, the band is what we gravitate towards. But this just sounds great. I don't know if this is doctored up at all, if there's any re-recording, but like, I know just from Filthy Phil, his drums sound amazing for a live record. Like, it makes me wonder if they're doctored up a little bit, but
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it kicks
doesn't matter.
Particularly Iron Horse on this, man. It just sounds phenomenal. Yes, that's my number 3. Number 2, which 20 years ago I wouldn't have picked this, but Another Perfect Day. I was given this when I was just getting into vinyl. I started collecting vinyl when I was 20, I think. And I was like, man, that album cover's so awesome. Put it on. I'm like, it didn't click. And I'm like, yeah, it's because it's not the original lineup, whatever, you know. But then I got super into Thin Lizzy. And like, I remember like this sat in the corner of my room. I didn't even have it with my like collection. It literally sat in a corner by itself with like a couple other records maybe. And I was like, man, that's that record that Brian Robertson plays on. And just like listening to it in that light and that mentality, I was like, dude, what? I cannot believe I shunned this album for years. And it is like, especially like throughout their catalog, it is like kind of like a little bit of a palate cleanser, you know. And I love it. I Got Mine is probably top 5 Motorhead songs. Dancing on Your Grave has been said. Rocket, Shine. It's really an amazing album. It should have done better. I really don't know why Lemmy and everyone just, you know, kind of bashed on it, other than the image. I know they weren't happy with Brian's image, but it's a great record. And my favorite since day one, Overkill. I heard Ace of Spades first, loved it. That was the when I first started playing drums in bands, I had to join a punk rock band, which I wasn't even into punk rock, but like there's just no one who liked Black Sabbath or Ozzy or even Metallica, really. So it was like, you know, someone came up, hey man, you want to play drums in my band? And like they kind of like schooled me on punk rock, to be honest with you. So like Motorhead was like the one band, it was still like they knew I was like more of a hard rock guy, but like it was like, well, you could like Motorhead around like your new punk friends, and And so like Motorhead was blaring all the time, like when we were just hanging out before band practice. And Ace of Spades was the first I got into, but man, once I got Overkill, to me it's dirtier. It's just the definitive Motorhead sound for me. You know what I mean? It's rock and roll as shit. It's greasy. That's how I like my Motorhead. Fast and loose. You know what I mean? Like, we're quoting Ace of Spades there, but to me,
yeah.
that's how they should sound always.
Mm-hmm.
And favorite tracks off of Overkill, Tear You Down, Limb for Limb. I remember the first time I heard that with that bass intro, and for a slower, beginning of the song, that just made a huge impression. And I'll Be Your Sister, probably my favorite ones off the album.
Cool. Awesome. What's going on in the Spellbook camp? You guys got anything coming up soon?
Yeah, we're working on a new album. We have like 5 songs, I think. We're wanting to get 4 more, demo them, and then hit the studio ASAP to hopefully get a record out 2025. So
Cool.
been playing a lot lately and earning money for the studio, you know how that is.
Excellent. All right, we're going to head down to Armageddon Productions, Ed Farsley, and then we'll round it out with our scorekeeper, which we didn't have to really keep score tonight, but Denny Barth.
All right, how we doing, guys? So wow, what a great homework assignment, right? Listen to every Motorhead record. Why would school be like this? We'd all done a hell of a lot better.
Hell yeah.
Great A's.
So this was great. I mean, Motorhead, one of the all-time greatest bands. I mean, we've all said it, and we'll say it till the day we die. Lemmy is God. Motorhead, greatest rock and roll metal band of all time. Just phenomenal from their first singles, even the Hawkwind stuff with Lemmy to the last release. Just fantastic. He put out so many albums in the 90s. It's amazing. I think it was 8 albums he put out from 91 to 2000. I mean, it's an all good stuff. Everything he did is fucking gold. He's fantastic. I first discovered them, I would say probably late '82. I was still going to wrestling shows with my father in the city. Sometimes we'd go to a record store beforehand. He'd let me pick out a few records, and that's how I discovered so much metal, just obscure metal from around the world. And Motorhead was one of those bands. Ace of Spades was my first record, and I just fell in love with it. Picked up the record like, oh my God, this looks amazing. And it was. From there, just delved into everything, picked up as much vinyl as I could back in the day. When I was working and didn't have a girlfriend, had all this money, I used to buy records every week. Every week there'd be a new Motorhead 7-inch or 12-inch or album or something. It was fucking great. I mean, it was all cool. And like a couple guys have mentioned, just like Venom did back in the day, when they put out all the singles, 12 inches, 7 inches, they save some of their best shit for these releases. And you'd get the record, be like, oh, I know this song. Put on the B-side, it's like, oh shit, this song's even better. And it was amazing. They were just flawless back in the day, and I can't say enough about them. The fucking Motorhead. Got to see them quite a few times over the years. Very happy about that. First time I saw them live was 1986 at the Ritz. They were headlining with the Cro-Mags and Dark Angel. Dark Angel flew over here exclusively for this show. Don Doty was still singing for them, and I love Dark Angel. That was my favorite band back then. So I was like, I'm going to this show. I wasn't going to a lot of shows back then because I was still young, but I went to the show and it just blew me away. And I mean, Dark Angel, I was there in the front row with King Fowley and a bunch of us, and we did a great time. Then Promax came on, and that was a mind-blowing experience. Promax at the Ritz at 15 years old, 16, whatever I was. And then Motorhead just blew my mind. The heaviest fucking, the loudest show I'd ever been to experience, and it was mind blowing. It was fantastic. And was at that Mid Hudson Civic Center with Slayer and Overkill, another outstanding show. They only did that lineup a couple of times, and definitely that was fantastic. Saw them festivals. I saw them once at Lemoore. I saw them another time at Ritz later on, and just so many times. And up until just about the end, I didn't see the last Motorhead tour that he did. Unfortunately, I passed on it. It was probably a Ozfest or something, and I passed. Should have gone. I saw tapes of it, and Lemmy wasn't in the best form, but it was still Lemmy, and still I was there, just like Dio's last tour. But anyway, top three albums again. It's a hard choice. I mean, there's so many great albums, but for me, number three, Ace of Spades. Again, my first Motorhead album, absolute classic album. You can't get better than Motorhead than Ace of Spades. The single, as everyone has said, it's not like every band, Maiden, Priest, Ozzy, AC/DC, they've all got those songs that you've heard a billion times and you're just kind of sick of at this point. Good songs, but you're sick of. Ace of Spades is not that song. Ace of Spades is still great the first time you heard it to the last time you heard it. Doesn't diminish anything whatsoever. Let's see here. So many good songs. We Are the Road Crew. Again, one of my all-time favorite songs. Lyrically, musically, vocally, just a perfect song. Jailbait, love that young stuff. Can't beat that. The Hammer, excellent fucking closer. Oh man, The Chase is better than The Catch. Just a killer riff and just fantastic record. Number my number one album. Go back and forth. For years, my number two album tonight was my number one album. After listening to these albums again the last couple of days, I've now flip-flopped the other way. So my number two tonight is Another Perfect Day. And it has been probably my favorite Motorhead album for most of my life. With my number one album tonight, going back and forth. But Another Perfect Day is a perfect album. It was the perfect aligning of the planets, of the stars, of the gods when Brian Robertson joined Motorhead for this album. Just like when Ian Gillan joined Black Sabbath for Born Again, it was an absolute phenomenal meeting that could only happen one time. Only one album can be done with these men, and it's brilliant from start to finish. Every song on this album is just absolutely brilliant. Back at the Funny Farm, I mean, it's just Shine with that heavy groove. And then Dancing on Your Grave, just one of my favorite songs, just a perfect song. Rocket, just up tempo, Another Perfect Day, exceptional guitar soloing on that song by Brian. Just the whole album is just flawless. My number one album, pretty much like everybody else agrees, Overkill. I mean, it is the perfect Motorhead album. Overkill, the song, I mean, is there a better double bass song ever? I mean, it's just brilliant album from start to finish. Let's see what we got here. A few people have mentioned the first album, great Motorhead album, heavy on the blues, heavy on the rock, heavy on the Hawkwind influence. Fantastic, but Bomber, Overkill rather, that's when they honed the sound, and it was the perfect Motorhead sound. They rode that till the end, and it just doesn't get any better. I mean, No Class, Capricorn, I Won't Pay Your Price, I'll Be Your Sister. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Metropolis, one of my all-time favorite Motorhead songs too. Just so atmospheric, so emotional, just so fucking brilliant. I can go on and on. Those are my top three. We got more honorable mentions, and just keep going, man. This is Motorhead. This is good times.
Thank you. And here we go down to the northwestern territories of Canada. Well, it must be a foot of snow on the ground by now, since we're in the 70s, mid-70s in Middletown, New York at night.
It hit 80 today in fucking Jersey.
Crazy.
Definitely not mid-80s up here, but there's not really snow where I live. It's really kind of like Seattle weather. Lots of rain and that. This episode's not gonna do anything good for my reputation or me being a nice person when I was younger. But I was I'll tell the story when I was exposed to Motorhead. Aggression's drummer, Gate, I would say at least like 2-3 years prior to like doing Aggression, I didn't know the guy. He was going at my high school, and I owed some money to the school party favorite supplier. Um, and as a way of being able to repay my debt, he said, "Hey, this guy is named Gate. He owes me money. Why don't you go collect from him, and then like get what you can from him, and then I'll take it away from what you owe me." So this is this is how I met Gate, the Aggression's drummer. Kind of corner him into his locker at school. We're talking like 1980. We're like 14, 15 years old. Grade like 8, grade 9. So I was much bigger than Gate. Completely bullied him. So I gotta try to shake him up and stuff and ask him to empty his pockets. So he gives me like wallets, party favorites, whatever he had in his pants. And in his jacket he had a cassette, a TDK, like those, like those cassettes you're able to like record over.
Mm-hmm.
And on one side it was from a band named Motorhead. On one side you had Bomber, and on the other side it was Overkill. So this is how I listened to Motorhead the first time.
Nice.
I actually like got that cassette from Gabe, not willingly. That's how I got exposed to Motorhead.
What a jerk.
Years later, when I went and like auditioned them to join Aggression, him and Byrne and Butcher, they were on him, Byrne and another Butcher and another guy. They were in a trio, and they used to play Motorhead and Venom. And when I walked in, I didn't recognize him, but he recognized me. So he got super scared. And I mean, like, "Hey, I'm here to recruit you as my drummer." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I know you." I'm like, he goes, "You're the one who stole my fucking Motorhead tape and like took my cash and my dough." And anyway, so yeah, so that's how I got exposed to Motorhead. Saw them. I saw the Ace of Spade tour. I think it was the night before they played in New York, actually, with Ozzy. But in Montreal, they didn't play with Ozzy. It was only Motorhead, and there was no opening bands.
Wow.
So they played for 2 hours straight, and they played the best out of Overkill, Bomber, and the debut. Um, then they played some songs from like Ace of Spade as well. I still remember. Me and my friend, we went to the show. I was already like over 6 feet tall, so I was able to. It was a over 18 concert. I was able to. I was the first one to give my ticket and go in. All my buddies got stopped because they asked for IDs and didn't have any IDs, so they got all turned down. So I went to the show by myself.
Wow.
So when I was inside, I was like, like, you're awkward, you're tall, but you look awkward. You're like 14 years old in a bar with a bunch of like bikers and guys who don't look that they're up to anything good. So I'm at the bar and I'm like, okay, like trying to like fit in. So I see people ordering beer. I order a beer. I got my $20 for the night. I ordered a beer and all that, and then the guy beside me was Filthy Animal Taylor, and he was ordering a beer at the same time as me.
Wow.
And he just said like, keep your money, and he bought me my beer.
Oh man,
And
That's
I didn't
cool.
know it was him at first, and then plus like his English for me, like I was, I'm French Canadian, to listen to somebody from England speaking, it's fucking hard to know what he. And he was like, like he sounded like this, right? So I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so that's the first time I see Motorhead. And after that, I caught the Another Perfect Day tour with Brian Robertson in Montreal as well, which we were very disappointed. Not like, it's just like, we were Thin Lizzy fans already. We love Scott Gorham and Brian Robertson, but he came like Tony Dio mentioned, he came with like with his fucking tennis like bandana and his like in his like fucking like, guess
Terrible.
it could not have been a worse fit from Motorhead from a look perspective. Like after you saw like, because like Filthy and like Fast Eddie and Lemmy, they had like that dirty biker freaking look down to like, but this guy, like you said, it looks like Flashdance, freaking like Olivia Newton-John on stage, like,
Terrible.
and even when he was playing like the older stuff, like when he was playing like Another Perfect Day, there was definitely a comfort from like the guitar playing, but he had some his rhythmic like his picking hands on like riff like We Are the Road Crew or like Overkill. It looks awkward to say the least. So yeah, so at that concert, at that Another Perfect Day concert, uh my mom's girlfriend made her a shirt that says "Go to bed with Motorhead." So, and that girl had some of the biggest tits you can find. And I mean, it took like Lemmy like less than 20 seconds to spot her. Like she was sitting on my shoulder and like so so then the like we're like just like sitting with our friend, then the roadie come and he's like, ask her like you want to come backstage, and then she looks at me, I'm like, yeah, like just go. Like, and then I'm thinking in my head, oh, I'll go with her. And the guy's like, no, 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 just her. Right. And I'm like, might as well do it. So so the picture you see of Filthy Animal Taylor online that she go to bed with Motorhead, that's actually my mom's girlfriend who made him that shirt.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Fucking
So
crazy.
the last time, so
Unreal.
that was like, I don't know, like a certain night of the week, whatever.
Did he hit it?
We didn't hear from her for 7 days. She went on tour
Wow.
on the bus with her, and so the mom was like, "Hey, where's my daughter?" I'm like, she's on the road with Motorhead. Like,
Oh,
like
She
how
went to
can I
bed
get
with
a hold of
Motorhead.
these guys? And
Mhm.
anyway, so years later, Aggression was playing in like California. And I see a guy with a go to bed with Motorhead t-shirt, and I'm like, what the hell, right? And I approached the guy, like, where'd you get that shirt? He goes, oh, like Filthy Animal from Motorhead gave it to me like years ago, and it was Richie Star
wow.
from the Plasmatics.
Oh shit! What
So
the?
that guy's got that shirt now.
How did it even fit him?
Um,
He's like 20 feet taller than Filthy.
oh no, but it looks like a little like a like what do you call those shirts that you can
Little
see the
half
belly and
shirt.
sort? Yeah,
Half
yeah, yeah,
shirt.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that's hilarious, dude.
So anyway,
That's
That's great.
Filthy was like
so after the
Henry.
girlfriend incident, we went after to see Motorhead again, and she was with me, but now she was with some other dude. But so Lemmy told me, he goes, okay, like anytime you want to come, like we stole your girlfriend, blah blah blah. Anytime you want to see Motorhead, on me, you never have to pay again. So
Wow.
every time they came either in Montreal, Vancouver, like I was able, so I just had to put like on the guest list request, like the go to bed with Motorhead shirt guy. So that's
That's
my
amazing.
Motorhead story.
Cool.
I knew you
Okay,
had one. I knew you had to have one.
You had to have one.
Damn.
yeah, it's but
A
these guys
classic.
are like very like Lemmy. Like I mean, I didn't talk much. I didn't understand a word he was saying, but always very cool. Like doesn't like kind of down to earth kind of guy. I had a Mahogany Ross shirt one time, and he was like, "Holy shit, I love Frank Marino," and blah blah blah. But yeah, so every time I would just try to not be in people's face. Like I just get the passes and then just go and fucking do my thing. Um, okay. So my favorite albums, number three, favorite album is Iron Fist. Uh, I love Iron Fist. I love the title track. Like I thought after like Ace of Spade, it would be so hard for them to do something that's even remotely close to be that awesome, and Iron Fist isn't. But you know what? I love Heart of Stone. I love Sex and Outrage, Speed Freak,
Freak. Yes.
like all like I'm a Loser, like all these songs to me, like it really brings me back to like that time that like Motorhead on top of their game, and like I that album is almost like punkish a bit. Like it's almost like just put together fast and like screw you, we don't give a shit. Here's our new album. This is called Iron Fist. So that's my number three. Number two, yeah, so this one is like kind of like almost like not sentimental or like emotional, but um it's a period in my life where like I was really like in a like after aggression, like I didn't know what to do with myself, and like that album really hit me. And through the years I always listened to it, and it's 1916.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
I love the one to sing the blues, like I'm so bad, baby, I don't care.
Yep.
The title track is amazing. I love those, like, and I almost can feel like the war, Lemmy's like war, such a war fanatics, and how much he cared to the way he presented that song. I love the Ramones cover. And I love that the Ramones did their own Ramones cover at some point. Like, it's just like, yeah. So everything in the album I really like, and then my number one album, always gonna be Ace of Spades. Like, and for multiple reasons, and we we used to cover the entire album. I had the chance to
Wow.
play these songs with like Piggy from Voivod, from like Snake, and like
Right.
I had the chance to play these songs with Schmear from Destruction, from Tom Warrior, from Celtic Frost, like in that like World War III jam before the festival. We all met and we all did these songs, and then even most recently we played in Montreal, and all our friends from DBC, Dead Brain Cells, and we all came
Wow.
and played, like we all the road crew together. We're like fucking 10 on stage. Um, so yeah, like Love Me Like a Reptile. I used to cover that, even like prior aggression in my old band, same as The Hammer and Bite the Bullets and all these songs. So I know it's been played a lot, but like I every time the chase is better than the catch starts, like I'm in it. I don't give a shit. I'm just let's go and like burn stuff. That's like the way I'm thinking in my head. So that's it. That's my top three. It was not easy to get to those selection. It was
Yeah.
not easy. No.
Cool, man. And Denny, man, you're priceless with these stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even the one having the fun into them. It's like
No, but what the hell? I think
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think you've told that story before on another
Yeah,
episode
I
or told me
did. I
about it, but
did.
it's a great story.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is for sure.
So you know who didn't show up tonight, who was really excited about doing this, was Rob Tuttle. We were talking about it in the store, and I don't know, I texted him, but I didn't hear from him. I texted him. He was really into this episode, and I was talking all about it. Something must have came up, but of course from Lady Evil and a couple other bands. He's in a million bands. But time for my picks, I guess. I was surprised to hear how many people. I thought I'd be the only one picking Another Perfect Day.
Oh no.
But that
Yeah,
one
it's
came in at
become
number
a favorite.
3 on my book. And I was just like, nobody's gonna pick that but me. But I always had a soft spot for that album. Of course, seeing that tour, I agree. Like Brian Robertson looks did not fit Motorhead at that time. And there's a story I think from that tour where Lemmy was not happy with it either.
Yeah. I've
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's well documented.
well
Yeah.
documented. Yeah. Like, what the hell are you dressing like that for?
Yeah.
Whatever. So yeah, Shine. Everybody's talked about the album already, so I'll keep it brief. Rocket. I got mine. It's a great record. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Motorhead, Overkill.
Yep.
Of course, the title track, and everyone's talked about it already too. And freaking Stay Clean, No Class. I like how Levan mentioned how Plasmatics covered that song. That's a great song. When Wendy O did it too, just classic stuff. Of course, there was that connection with Wendy and Lemmy and Motorhead too back in those days. Someone
And
that's
Wendy does Jailbait in her solo career. She did
she
Jailbait
did,
too.
yep, she did that.
And No Class.
Someone that's been gone for many years now and was such a big influence on me back in the 80s was the Plasmatics, Wendy O.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we ought to do I don't think we ever did an episode on.
No,
I would love to do
Maybe
that.
maybe we better put that on the list for.
Oh,
things,
that would be amazing.
on the things to do list. And number one, I'm definitely going to go with the Ace of Spades album. I agree with everybody else. The title track. I don't care how many times you heard it, and it's just a great song. Shoot You in the Back. Nasty freaking song that is.
So good.
The Hammer. Somebody brought that up before, how heavy that song is. Of course, the Chase is better than a Catch. And the whole, I remember buying that album pretty much sight unseen. I'd seen them, but I went right out and bought the record. And the whole thing was like, had the good, the bad, and the ugly kind of theme, the Western movie theme on the, on the cover. And it was just a great album. And I guess, you know what? I'm just going to give a couple of my honorable mentions. I'm going to go with the No Sleep, the Hammersmith album, because
so good.
To me, that's like
so great.
They're Unleashed in the East. It's such a great album.
Absolutely.
So many great songs. And I will go with Bomber as my other honorable mention. And I'm going to throw in Orgasmatron as an honorable mention also. So I won't go into too many details because I don't want to make this episode too long, but it's been a great episode, man. I thank everybody for hopping on here tonight. Denny, you got the best stories ever. I can't wait to finally hang out with you next year.
Yeah.
What's happening?
What's happening? He's coming, man.
He's coming.
Lock up the women, bar the doors. So we're going to go back to Mr. Levan for his final thoughts. And I think that's an obituary song, isn't it? Final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to add. Just as we're mulling over it, it reminded me that I was playing an XCOM. We used to cover One Track Mind, which is such a nice song to try to cover because the guitar parts on it are just really out there. But I think we did a pretty good job on it. And one thing I was also thinking about when Denny was talking about Iron Fist, which is another one of my favorites. It's such a great album, especially Speed Freak. That song, I mean, that's me, Speed Freak. So I'm going to right there. Yeah. Love that album too. I was wondering, maybe Ralph has it. Does anybody have that Motorhead Bangers Collector's Kit? Is anyone familiar with that?
I've seen it. I don't have it.
I've seen it. It's pretty freaking cool.
When they put out Iron Fist, Motorhead was really kind of reaching this certain level of popularity. So they put out, it was a 6-song EP. I think it might have only had songs off of Iron Fist. It might have had some songs off Ace of Spades too, but it came in like a gatefold album. And on the inside, it had a Motorhead patch. It had a Motorhead poster, and it had the tour book from the Iron Fist tour that year.
Nice.
It's called the Motorhead Bangers Kit. And, obviously this was vinyl. And I was just wondering if anybody had it. I thought that it was possible that Ralph might have had it, or maybe.
I have just a 7-inch, the Iron Fist 7-inch.
Right,
that's all I've got. Yeah.
Red vinyl, I bet, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I used to have that one too. But yeah, that
red vinyl.
Motorhead Bangers Kit. It's like I don't really even collect vinyl anymore, but that would be something if I saw and the price was right, I'd probably want to have that again. It was a cool little package, just having that tour book and everything.
I don't remember that.
It's funny because so my family moved from Baltimore to New York and right at the end of 1980. So when that Ozzy Motorhead thing went down and up in Poughkeepsie, and I think they also played Music Mountain too, I thought, for some reason. Does that sound right?
Music Mountain was Ozzy, Randy, but that was with Def Leppard.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Yeah, that was with
Def
Leppard.
So I mean, at that point, I had moved here and I really didn't have any friends, so I didn't end up seeing that tour. And then it wasn't long after that Fast Eddie had left. I know that Motorhead played the Palladium the next year too, and once again, I didn't get to see that. So I think the very first time I saw Motorhead was honestly after Another Perfect Day, and I saw him with the first time that they toured with 2 guitars with Phil Campbell and Wurzel, and that was Motorhead, Merciful Fate, and Exciter.
Wow. Oh yeah, I forgot all about. I saw that tour.
Yeah, that was cool at Capitol Theater.
Yeah, I didn't write that one down of my concert experience. How did I forget that one? God
I don't know. That was a real classic one, man. Yeah.
I wanted to go to that show so badly.
Yeah, that was the first time that Fate was in the States, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, nasty.
Or maybe they played L'Amour's before that. I don't recall, but I'm jumping off subject.
I remember King Diamond on stage, and this is back when, this was kind of new and very taboo.
Mhm.
And I was sitting, I think maybe it was Andy Reitzer or somebody was there.
Mhm.
We were all young kids, and like King Diamond comes out and he goes, "I'd like to turn the Capitol Theater into the house of Satan."
Mhm.
And people were like, "Ooh."
We all believed him, man. We thought it was going.
And nowadays, I mean, that's a million times it's been said and whatever else by now. But yeah, I just remember that concert was so menacing. Man, my memory is bad this week. I don't know. I better not have to step down like that president we were talking about earlier. But trying to keep it going here, man.
But yeah, that was all I had to add. That was
I'm glad you mentioned that concert because I'm like, well, I'm going to split that up. Because I believe McAtee was at that. We talked about that concert.
Yeah, I think he was.
Count Ralphus.
Yeah, Steve, you left out a whole bunch of concerts of Motorhead that I know you went to too, because
Really?
they were on they were on a bunch of the Ozfest. They did the Mayhem Fest with Slayer
I
there in
never
PA.
never went to a Mayhem Fest.
Well, I know you've seen them on the classic, one of the best like shows ever with Sabbath and Priest played that one
Metal
Ozfest with
Masters.
Slayer. Motorhead was like the headliner on the second stage.
I did not. Wait a minute. So the one that had the Ozfest 04, was it, or 03 that had?
Yeah, they did a couple of them though. They did a couple of the Ozfest.
I don't remember
one time they were on.
them.
And then there was the other one, that Metal Masters tour with like Judas Priest and Testament.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They were on that tour.
That
and then
one, I don't think I saw that tour for some reason.
I was at PNC. I could have swore you were there. And then I seen them twice in 1 week. One time they playing with Motorhead, Dio, and Iron Maiden. I seen them at PNC. And then I seen them later that week. I went to see them at Madison Square Garden, and I hardly ever do that, but it was such a great triple bill.
That tour I missed it for some reason.
Great
I think
tour.
I was sick or something happened. I do remember that tour.
Oh, that's weird. I thought for sure. But another great time was when they came to the Chance in Poughkeepsie. It was I got this autographed ticket stub, and it's in a poster for that Stage Fright DVD thing that James was talking about. But this ticket stub I got signed by Lemmy. It was June 2nd, 1999. Scarhead, Hatebreed, and Dropkick Murphys opening up for Motorhead at the Chance.
Wow.
And it's cool because I had a Polaroid camera in my car, and after the show, Lemmy's we see him walking to his bus, and I'm like, "Hey, Lemmy, can we get pictures with you?" He's like, "Yes, just give me a second. I got to grab my bottle of Jack." So he goes in, grabs it, comes out, and sure enough, he's there to hang out with everybody getting their ticket stub signed because nobody thought of bringing stuff to the show. And I just happened to have a Polaroid camera in the car, so I got this picture. It's me and Duke, our friend Duke, and Lemmy in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, that's
wow.
That is cool.
And then I got here's one with my wife. Lemmy's about to run away with my wife there.
Really?
And then I had a friend there. Keeler knows him, friend Mike Fairweather, but he was there.
Yeah.
My wife getting a second picture.
Wow.
And then he ended up bugging me for another picture with Lemmy with his girl that he was with, and it sucked because Gary Dossel, Steve Levan's one of his best friends.
Yeah.
He was right there with us, and he's like, "Ralph, can you please get me one of those?" And I said, "Oh, sure, man." And then my friend ended up getting a second picture, and then I ran out. I only had like 5 shots on the camera, and he was just standing there. But he got to meet him and talk to him and stuff. But it just sucks because I felt bad that I was like, "Yeah," but then my Mike Fairweather took a second picture. But I've seen him so many times throughout the years. It seems like I didn't know we were going to talk about seeing him live, but
yeah, a little bit
got a couple of like honorable mentions. Since we're talking some live albums, is Live 78.
Oh, I love that one.
What's Wordsworth?
Yep. We said
yeah. I love that.
Here's a cool one. Lemmy Mania. Look at that one. That's a cool, rare one.
Yeah.
And they got so many of these newer ones that just keep coming out.
Oh,
They were
there's a
coming out every
million.
couple
Yeah,
of
they're
months.
milking it with the live albums.
Yeah,
man.
they
just
are.
keep.
Yeah.
Like every record store day, it seems to have a new Motorhead live
Mhm.
album.
You know
Yep.
those last shows that Lemmy did when he wasn't playing up to par, and they're releasing those, and he probably wouldn't even want those out because he really
Oh,
did
sure,
not
yeah.
sound good at all.
Yeah.
This is a cool one. It's one of the ones that came out after he died, but
Playing
they
your
make it a
clock.
little they make it a little special by having
Yeah.
like a
Oh,
got like
that's
Wow.
That is
badass.
a
cool.
pop up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
There's a great one. This Motorhead rock and roll,
Oh yeah, rock and roll's great.
Yeah.
hammered,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good.
special edition of On Parole. I got this really
That
cool
that,
thing from
that
On
one
Parole
live
too.
album, that one live album you just showed, isn't that the one from Another Perfect Day? That's got the is that the, there's one I've got is from Another Perfect Day, but it's got a picture of the
Yeah, this
original
is
band on
yeah. It's got the picture of the original band, but it's live at L'Amour's in '83.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it. Yeah. Mhm.
this On Parole special edition, but this is a really cool special edition. It was an On Parole on CD. It came with a button, and it comes in this weird pouch. It's like a kind of cloth pouch, and it has like photographs in there. Like,
Mhm.
Shit.
but this is a pretty rare thing that I got.
That was from
And
Carol, right?
yeah, the Caroline Records.
Yeah,
I
I
got
used to
that
have that too. I think I might still have it somewhere.
cool Motorhead tribute album. Got a lot of cool bands on here. Fahrenheit 451, Electric Frankenstein, Dropkick Murphys, Integrity, Blood for Blood, Scarhead, like all these hardcore bands doing Motorhead songs. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I got a
Yeah.
bunch of 7 inches and so many CDs and cassettes and stuff. Here's a cool old cassette that I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got
remember that.
Orgasmatron on cassette. I got this original one on cassette, a couple other ones, but
Nice.
that's about it, you know.
That No Remorse cassette in the leather pouch is like super hard to find, man.
Yeah.
I got the cassette, but not the pouch. Here's
Yeah, the cassette
that
looked just like that when you took it out, but it was in a leather pouch. Yeah, it's super hard to find.
James, I'm retracing on my steps after Ralph said I was forgetting all his shows. So I'm looking
Yeah.
up how many times Ozfest did play 2005 Ozfest. So I did see them on that tour with that's when Iron Maiden played with them. Yeah. And they were
I think
90.
they played with Heaven and Hell and stuff, I think too.
I saw the one I saw Heaven and Hell. I saw
Metal
them with-
Masters.
I saw them with Megadeth
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Machine Head. Yeah, so yeah, I saw them a few times, but yeah, I probably forgot one or two. But that's what happens when you get old.
It happens.
I'm old. I'm 64. I just got a birthday, and it's everything all at once. So I'm getting click off another year in the calendar. Or something. A couple of the brain cells probably aren't working as well. Oh, James, what's up, brother?
So yeah, so somebody had mentioned earlier about punks and metalheads kind of shaking hands and agreeing how fucking awesome Motorhead is. And I've noticed that throughout my life, hanging out with punk dudes who are hardcore punk dudes who hate metal but love Motorhead,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
metalheads who hate punk but also love Motorhead. That's a thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
That exists, and that's Lemmy fucking created that bridge between the two genres, and
yeah.
made that exist where punks and thrashers could shake hands and fucking have a hug about, yeah, of course Motorhead rules. Lemmy is also a major influence of mine. I started as a rhythm guitar player, just like Lemmy did, and turned into a bassist, kind of out of, like the need for bassists around me, because it was like there was always somebody hitting me up, dude, you've seen my band 100 times. Could you pick up the bass and fill in and play this show? Our bass player's sick. We just fired our bass player, whatever the case. And I eventually dropped the rhythm guitar and picked up bass because, well, it's just so much easier to find a gig. So I come from the same kind of point of view as Lemmy does, starting as a rhythm guitar player and going over to bass. So he's always been a major influence of mine, much less the fact that I use a bass head on a Marshall 412 guitar amp to get sort of the same sound. But anyways, we're getting into guitar nerd shit here. Honorable mentions, I gotta go with Motorhead live in session at the BBC. I reach for this one a lot. This is a great double live CD that spans from 1978 to 1986. Great stuff on here. You get the original band from the first album on the 78 sessions, and then you get the Fast Eddie Clark stuff, and goes into 88, goes into 86. Great double CD. It's not easy to find anymore, but if you can find it, get your hands on it. The homework for this show made me go back and listen to a lot of albums that I haven't listened to in a long time. And damn, Sacrifice is really a great album that does not get talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Great songs on this one. Sex and Death. Dog-Faced Boy is such a good, vicious track. And the last track on this, Out of the Sun, is one of my top favorite Motorhead tunes. Great tune. Great album. Great album. This is another one I think they've recently re-released this through BMG. I've got the original CMC Records release of this one, but you could find this one through BMG. It's great. I was driving around with my girlfriend yesterday doing errands and smoking a little pot in the car and put on Undercover.
Yeah.
What a great covers album.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Great covers album. And I got to say, in my opinion, the Motorhead version of Whiplash is probably the best Metallica cover I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
It really is. It really is. It's no wonder they won a Grammy for it. So, killer shit.
Cool.
I took Inferno as my number 3 in my top 3 favorite Motorhead albums. The one after it, Kiss of Death, is also a really killer, awesome album from that era of Motorhead, and still has a lot of... You could feel that there's like some kind of muse going on with this era of Motorhead. There's a great... And I don't know, whatever. Maybe Lemmy was doing a little extra speed. Maybe he was drinking a little extra fucking Jack, something. But Inferno and Kiss of Death back to back are really, really killer Motorhead releases from that last era of Motorhead. And I would be remiss to not mention the already mentioned Ace of Spades. That's going to be my last honorable mention. Everybody's already worshipped it. Everybody's already said everything cool about it.
Great.
Fantastic album. Just doesn't make my top 3, and just barely doesn't make my top 3. Killer album. So there you go. That's my honorable mentions. And let's not forget, probably the most important album in Lemmy's career.
Uh-oh.
He made a lot of money off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
He
probably
made the
made more
most
money off that than
off
he did
this
with
album.
Motorhead.
That's right. That's right. Tony Dio knows. He's schooled.
So,
And I also got to say one last thing.
one last
If you
thing.
haven't read White Line Fever,
Yeah.
Hey,
please,
Yeah.
please buy it. Please read it. The movie is great. The Lemmy movie is fantastic. But this goes into more detail. It's so funny. There's so much great, dry British humor in it. There's so many great stories in it. Get this fucking book and read it, and you're going to love Lemmy even more than you did before. Fantastic book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So while we're talking to someone from Connecticut, I have to give Christian Maiorino's picks.
Yes.
Tonight, who couldn't make it. His number 3 album is Bastards. His number 2 is Overkill, and his number 1 was Ace of Spades. So Christian, hey, what's up, guy? See you next time.
Bastards is a good one.
Yeah.
Bastards is unrelated. Underrated.
Underrated. Tony Dio, what do you got for us to wrap this? Get this. Hey,
I'll
Daisy,
tell a couple of quick Motorhead related stories. So the first time I was supposed to ever get to see Motorhead was supposed to be the Operation Rock and Roll tour that was in 1991 with Judas Priest and Alice Cooper, and for some reason when they came to Raleigh, Motorhead wasn't playing that day, and I still don't know what went down with that, but they ended up leaving the tour and they went and played another show in another town that day. And
that's a weird one, because we thought he got hurt because, all right, so Ralph, you are correct. I saw Operation Rock and Roll with Motorhead at the Meadowlands Arena. So there's another one. Yeah, Ralph.
So at least you got to see him. So I didn't get to see him. That's 1991. So Sacrifice comes out. I mean, that's the next time I get a chance to see Motorhead. They don't come to North Carolina a lot, right? And I know they would play the Boathouse in Norfolk, but a lot of times you didn't hear about stuff. But anyhow, so they play on the Sacrifice tour, and they're playing Raleigh, playing this big concert hall. Joey Belladonna's band is the opening act. Belladonna, and they come out on stage, and as soon as they hit the stage, some idiot threw a can of beer on, and it hit Lemmy like right in the head. And he turned around and walked off. And if you guys know the story, Lemmy got hit by a flying quarter when they were over assault, like a file down quarter when they were over in Europe, and it gave him blood poisoning. It hit him in the arm and cut his arm, and that was like a year or two before that. So he gets hit with a beer, and he just turns around and walks off. I swear it was like a scene from a movie. Everybody turned and looked at where the beer came from at this dude. It's like the crowd pulls apart and the guy's standing there by himself with a spotlight on him, like there's the guy that did it, And Lemmy comes out, it's like, bring him around the back, I'm gonna beat his ass and stuff. But I'm thinking, I'm not gonna see Motorhead, they're gonna cancel. But no, they threw the dude out, they played the show. So I got a chance to see him several times, after that. I remember seeing them with Wasp on Wasp was touring, and it was with them, and they were playing this club called Jack's in Northern Virginia. And Motorhead played first that night. They were flip-flopping each night. Lemmy just sat at the bar during the Wasp set, and people were buying him drinks and shit and just talking to him. He's just very personable, very cool. First time I ever met him was in the Rainbow in Los Angeles, and he was talking to me. The music was loud, and I didn't understand what he was saying. It was kind of like what Denny was saying about meeting Filthy. It's just he's like, and he was telling me about some movie that he did called Tromeo and Juliet, which turns out years later I found out it was a trauma film. And he was telling me, but I was at the time I'm just thinking, Lemmy's talking to me, and I don't know what he's saying, But one time I was I think it was like 2002. I was dating this girl, and she knew the guys in Motorhead very well, and we are going to go see them in the 930 Club in Washington, D.C. And she said, hey, I just talked to Phil. He called me a little while ago. He's going to put us on the list and everything. His mom died. He's got to fly home. I said, oh, wow. So is the show canceled? No, they're bringing in another guitarist. But she gets Phil to call me, like after she hangs up with me. So Phil Campbell calls me, and I'm just like, what do you say? The guy just lost his mom. He's other than, I'm sorry about your mother, and stuff. But he got him to call me for some reason. He said, yeah, we're going to rock out tomorrow night. We got another guy. He said, we're bringing this guy, Todd Youth, and he's going to fill in for me for a few days. Todd Youth has since passed away, but so we go to the show and we see him that night. Todd Youth is with them. So that was the first time they had played as a 4-piece since Wurzel had died, because both guitarists played, and because Phil was going to leave the night after or after that and go home to England, and Todd was going to do the next week of shows or whatever. But earlier that day, we got to go hang out with them. We went on a bus and sat around with them. And I remember Mickey D had played on some Halloween album, and Johnny D, the drummer from Doro and Brittany Fox, was there. He lived in the area, and he came, and he and Mickey are sitting in there listening to this Halloween album, and you know, this drummer talk. Listen to what I did here. Listen to this part, you know, and they're just talking back and forth. Lemmy came out and gave us some drinks and stuff. Super cool. Watched the show. After the show's over, we go to the after party, and it's upstairs at the 930 Club. And this chick I'm with, she gets hammered, and she is drunk as crap. You know, she's hammered. It's perfect, the Motorhead song. And she realizes that her wallet is missing now, and there's a bunch of people in there, and she just loses it. Like, oh my God, my wallet's gone, and all this stuff. She's freaking out. She's starting to cry and all this stuff. And, you know, I'm embarrassed. I'm kind of, you know, whatever, you know. And so Lemmy comes over, and he's like, I never forget, he comes over and he goes, hey, what's up with her? And I'm like, she lost her wallet. He said, bloody good hell finding it now. And the tour manager came over and asked me to get her out of there. So we go out, of course. I was like, yeah. But we actually, to make a sad story good, we go downstairs, and everybody's gone from the club. Nobody's there. Doorman's there. I said, did you happen to somebody turn in a wallet? He goes, yeah, it's her. He saw the ID and brings her over, and she gets her wallet back. You know, someone turned it in, didn't take anything out of it. She left it in the bath. She's drunk, left it in the bathroom. You know, she went in to touch her makeup. It's just crazy. But I've had a pleasure getting to meet those guys and talk to them many times. I think the last time that I went to see them was when Lemmy was really, really bad. It was like September of that year, and he died in December. And he looked terrible. And I didn't think he was going to die anytime soon, but I said, he just can't keep doing this. He's got to retire, you know? And so, yeah. So that's
amazing that you've seen him with Todd Youth, though. I always knew that Todd Youth played with him, but it was such a short period of time. He's a New York hardcore legend, that guy. Mm-hmm. He played in Murphy's Law and a whole bunch of like New York hardcore bands. Mm-hmm. And I always knew that he played with Motorhead, but I'm like, when the fuck did that happen? Because he's not on any albums, but it was just like that quick little fill in, and you actually caught like a really unique lineup catching that. That's so cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, Lemmy hated Blackie Lawless. If you read the White Line Fever book, that's what he hated doing that tour. And he also really did not like Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys very much either. He didn't call Dangerous Toys out in the book or Jason McMaster, but he does say during that Operation Metal tour, there was an Axl Rose wannabe vocalist in that tour that made everything very hard. And it's crazy to think about that because Jason McMaster seems like a very cool guy.
Yeah, he's very easygoing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess there was a problem between him and Lemmy on that fucking tour.
The one band that he slams the most in that book, Nick is wearing a shirt of. You got a Blue Oyster Cult shirt on, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. He had a real big problem with Blue Oyster Cult. They fucked him on sound checking and stage I guess they had the drums in front. They had no room on stage, and they were just real assholes. He always hated Blue Oyster Cult.
Another talking about seeing Todd Youth. Another show I saw him when they had when Mickey D took a break to do a television like reality show, and they had Matt Sorum on drums for a tour. Wow. And they played about 4 songs from Another Perfect Day on that tour because Matt loved that album, so they broke them out, you know.
Wow. I did not know that.
Fucker. Cool. Great stories, Tony. And Nick, got anything to follow up with? We wrap this baby up.
Saw him twice. I think 04 was COC at the Troc. That's the first time I saw him, and like I just remember the guy in front of me in the line, like, he looked at me and he's like, here. And he gave me earplugs. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. No, you're not. And I was like, nah, I'm in a band. Like, I've been in plenty of shows. He's like, you ever see Motorhead? I'm like, no. He goes, here. So I just took him out of just for this guy to leave me alone. And 2 songs in, I looked at my boy. I'm like, holy shit! Like reaching in my jean jacket to put him in, like it was insane. And then I saw him years later, maybe like 10 years later. It was Reverend Horton Heat and Nashville Pussy. That was a great show. But just Mickey D, seeing Mickey D, he had like a 10-inch tom. And that thing, when he hit that, like during sound check, it was like you're dreading, like hearing, like when he gets down the 4 toms and hitting a kick. It was just like stop your heart. It's unreal. But they lived up to the hype, man. They were the loudest band. Probably, yeah, they were the loudest band I've ever seen. Probably Sleep behind them as far as like volume level, like insane volume level.
Cool. I have a poster for that Nashville Pussy, Reverend Horton Heat, Motorhead show. I have a poster, and I got it signed by all the guys in Reverend Horton Heat and Nashville Pussy, but none of the guys from Motorhead, because I seen them separate. They weren't part of the tour with Motorhead at the time, but they had those posters.
Oh man!
Hell yeah!
I think I still got some. I think I still got some promo posters out in storage from when I worked at the record label. It was a Motorhead COC Zeke tour.
Oh wow!
Yep. Okay, Nick. Ed, do you got anything for us?
Yeah, I mentioned a couple honorable mentions. One or two people mentioned 1916. When that album came out, I listened to it a lot. I was working at Roadrunner at the time, and I remember I just embraced that album. It was so good. Definitely a little different album from Motorhead. I think they
totally, but good.
The genres on that album, we got let's see. No Voice in the Sky, absolutely phenomenal song. Going to Brazil, a little rockabilly metal in there. Nightmare, The Dreamtime, very haunting melody and vocal lines, and just Love Me Forever, melodic, powerful, passionate. They explored a few other, other sounds to perfect effect. Just a brilliant record. Like I said, I listened to that album a lot. Another honorable mention, absolutely. My going down the list, We Are Motorhead.
Really good.
Fantastic record. They did a lot of albums in the 90s, all really good records. No absolute phenomenal standouts. I think 1916 is a standout, and then We Are Motorhead is the next best album they did. And that album fucking shreds.
Yeah.
That's so killer. See Me Burning? Jesus Christ. It's another rapid song, fucking killer riffs. Wake the Dead, fucking love that song. So heavy and intense. One More Fucking Time. I fucking love that. First time I heard that song, I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. It's great. And We Are Motorhead. Come on. We Are Motorhead. That's what it's all about.
Kick your ass.
Rock and Roll, another fantastic album. Iron Fist and Bomber. I mean, come on. I'm not even going to get into how great those albums are. Kiss of Death, just such a real fucking heavy record. And every record is made by Motorhead. They rule. Not going to go into not pulling up all my vinyl. I got so damn much of it. But like Motorhead, no. This was definitely the best live album they put out. They put out so many. This was the classic one. No Remorse, the original pressing, the leather cover.
Nice.
And the Killed by Death 12-inch. Orgasmatron. Did I mention them? Another great record. Orgasmatron, Picture This. Something nobody has mentioned yet tonight. Another fantastic meeting when they had Girls School. Girls School.
Oh yeah,
I have that.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I have that too, Ed.
Together.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, I got that too.
Classic.
They call it Motor School.
Exactly. And it was so great.
What a 10-inch, right?
Yep, exactly. I got the St. Valentine's Day reissued picture disc 10-inch, Japanese pressing, fucking with the whole set, with the whole EP.
Oh, cool.
Fucking great. And the last one I'm going to show, the Christmas record. This is a rare piece of fucking work here. Fucking Filthy and Fast Eddie Christmas record. It's bizarre. I'll leave it at that. That's it. Motorhead, fucking the gods. I worship Motorhead.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember that motor school when I used to go to Rock and Roll Heaven. Just a kid, Johnny Z had that on the wall, and it was important. It was always like way more money than I was willing to spend on a piece of back then. So much shit to buy. But man, I used to just look at that and drool because I love the artwork on it. You know, it was just so cool. And wow, what a cool piece, man.
Yeah, great.
Very cool. Very cool. Denny, wrap this thing up for us. We're running 2 hours. 2 hours of Motorhead.
We could go on for 3 more.
I'm having a hard time staying awake because I think I was up way too late last night. Didn't sleep much watching what was going on TV.
If we would all be in the same room at the same time right now, it would be way longer than 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yes.
I would have to have a cup of coffee before.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should have. My wife left me coffee. It's like I don't need it. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm tired.
Yeah, like honorable mention, like everything you guys already said. Like I was trying to I listened to the entire discography while we were trying to prepare. And there's some albums I really never paid that much attention. I really like that Sacrifice, Snake Bite Love, like Inferno, like each of these albums always have 2, 3, 4, 5 songs that is great. Sometimes some they're not so good, but there's always enough quality for us, to put a record, and that's what you're getting, right?
I'm glad you mentioned Snake Bite Love though, because you couldn't even get that when it came out.
It's
well, they're only released in Germany for the longest time or something. Because I remember seeing the ad for it in a magazine, and I'd go to my the Camelot or the Wall, whatever it was back then, and they would never have it. I'm like, how the hell do you get this album?
It's Sanctuary had shitty distribution at times and stuff.
Through the years, right? We're kind of lucky sometimes in Canada because we'll get different tour packaged, and so I saw them with Exciter and Anvil. I saw them with Witch Killer. I saw them with all kinds of different yeah, man. They have the Saxons
right there.
They have the Saxons. Yeah.
So I saw them with so many different type of bands up here in Canada, but also in the States. They all had a great Nashville Pussy Reverend Horton Heat show at Motorhead was so fucking good. It's so good. So yeah, I think they're kind of band that's they were similar to what James said earlier, is when we grew up in Montreal anyway, we listened to Ramones just as much as Judas Priest. And for us, it's kind of we went down Agnostic Front and Slayer, but Motorhead was always able to unite both worlds until eventually there was a crossover, and then you had punks with Motorhead patch, and they were like, no, Slayer sucks. I'm like, what are you talking about, right?
Yeah.
But I think what we should do, and I'm gonna call it on this recording right now, is that when we do the 39 anniversary show for Mr. Steven Keeler and Rock Fantasy, we should get some of us to go on stage and perform some Motorhead songs. I think on this, if anybody can make it, I think we have a bass player, 2 guitar player, we have drummers, we have
like a
why don't we
special,
do
like an all-star jam or something?
Yeah, let's do a Rock Fantasy Files all-star jam, and then just do Motorhead.
You at least got to do We Are the Road Crew and Ace of Spades.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do it right now without even practicing.
Yeah.
I'm with that. I'll play the bass.
There you go. So that's it. That's it for me. That's all I have to add.
Cool. Well, for everybody that's still watching this episode, and applaud that because it's a long episode, but it's a great subject. That's a great stories tonight. Please take your favorite albums and put it in the comments, your favorite Motorhead concert moments, whatever else, and put them in the comment section. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you like what we're doing, and we will try to come back next week with another subject and keep this going for the fall and winter months, even doesn't feel like it. My air conditioning just kicked on in New York. Automatically in this room, my air conditioning's blowing at what? Almost 11 o'clock at night. How crazy is it? But anyhow, I'd like to thank Steve Levan, Count Ralphus, James, Tony Dio, Nick, Ed. Nick, we're keeping you up late tonight. And Denny Garth for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time on the Rock Fantasy Files. Am I forgetting anything, anybody? I think we got it all, right?
I got a Motorhead tattoo. I forgot to show.
There we go. He's got a motor.
Nice.
I don't have one. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bang.